Picture this. It's 6 a.m. You're sitting in a deck chair on a grass airfield in southern England. You're eating a jam sandwich. The sun is just coming up over Kent. Birds are singing. It's actually quite lovely. Then the phone rings. 50 German aircraft. Incoming. 2 minutes. You have not finished your sandwich. You don't finish it. You sprint to your Spitfire, strap yourself into 3,000 pounds of aluminum and fuel, and climb into the sky to fight the entire Luftwaffe. You're 18 years old. You have had exactly 10 hours of combat training. Welcome to the Battle of Britain. Let's talk about how this went for you, rank by rank, from the kid who just got the letter to the man who never really came home. Level 1. The pilot recruit. You're 18. You're eating breakfast in a small kitchen in Kent when the letter arrives. Your mother puts the kettle on because she doesn't know what else to do. Your father says nothing. He remembers the mud of the last war and knows that the sky is no different. Just a different way to die in your 20s. 3 weeks later, you're at an airfield in Sussex. They shave your head, hand you a flight suit that smells of stale sweat and someone else's fear, and pay you 7 shillings a day. That's roughly the price of 2 pints and a bad decision, which is appropriate because that's basically what this is. You spend 12 weeks learning to fly a Tiger Moth, a small, docile biplane that handles like a very patient bicycle. Then, without much ceremony, they sit you in a Spitfire. The Merlin engine fires up and the noise hits you in the chest like a physical object. It has 8 Browning machine guns that can tear apart a bomber in under 3 seconds. It can do 360 miles per hour. It is, objectively, one of the most extraordinary machines ever built. You have absolutely no idea how to fight with it. The instructor tells you you're ready. He shakes your hand. He doesn't meet your eyes. He's lying, and both of you know it, but there are 2,600 Luftwaffe aircraft on the other side of the channel, and the RAF needs warm bodies in cockpits, so here you are, ready. Sure, let's go with that. Level 2, the pilot officer. You're 19 now, which in 1940 RAF terms makes you a pilot officer, the lowest rung of the commissioned ladder. You earn 11 shillings a day, which works out to roughly 4 shillings per near-death experience, depending on the week. Your days have a rhythm now, and it is a deeply unhinged rhythm. You wake up at dawn. You eat whatever the mess hall is offering, usually something beige. You walk to the airfield and sit in a deck chair by the runway, reading a magazine or playing cards or staring at the sky pretending you're not absolutely terrified. You wait. When the scramble bell rings, something happens to your body that no one warned you about. Your heart doesn't race. It stops. Just for a second. Then it starts again at approximately twice the normal speed and stays there for the next several hours. You're airborne in 90 seconds. You climb to 20,000 feet where the cockpit is so cold your breath fogs the instruments and your hands go numb inside your gloves. And then you see them, a smear of black dots over the channel that slowly resolves into a formation of bombers so large it looks like a moving city, escorted by fighters weaving above them like angry wasps. Your first dogfight lasts 90 seconds. You don't see the Messerschmitt that hits you, you only hear the scream of metal and smell the sharp sweetness of glycol leaking from your engine. You land on a field you don't recognize with a plane that has holes in it you could put your fist through. You're alive. You have no idea how. You sit on the wing of your crippled Spitfire in a farmer's field in Kent while your hands shake and a cow watches you with complete indifference. This is the luckiest moment of your life. You don't know that yet. You will. Level 3. The flight lieutenant. You've survived 2 months. In August 1940, that makes you a veteran. Actual veterans of the First World War would find this funny if it weren't so bleak. They promote you to flight lieutenant. You lead a section of 3 planes. Your pay goes up. So does the weight, not the physical kind. You're 20 years old and 2 kids look at you like you have the answers. Like you know something they don't. You don't. You just know one useful trick. If you turn towards the sun, the German pilots can't see you. That's it. That's your leadership edge. You develop habits. You always check your mirror twice before rolling into a turn. You never fly straight for more than 30 seconds. You eat whatever food is available whenever it's available because you've learned that you cannot predict when the next meal will be interrupted by the entire German Air Force. Then, one afternoon, your wingman catches a burst of 20mm cannon fire. His plane doesn't explode dramatically like in the films. It just stops flying. It drops into the cloud layer below and disappears. No parachute. No radio call. He's just gone, like someone closed a book mid-sentence. You have to be back in the air in 2 hours. So you land, eat your bully beef, drink your tea, and don't look at his empty chair in the mess hall. Not because you don't care, because if you look at the chair, you'll think about the chair. And if you think about who's not going to look at your chair next week, so you don't look. Level 4, the squadron leader. You're 20 now. You command 2 squadrons, 12 planes, 12 pilots, 12 sets of mothers somewhere in Britain who don't know yet what August 1940 is going to cost them. Your squadron calls you the old man. You are 20 years old. This tells you everything you need to know about average life expectancy in fighter command right now. You spend your nights writing letters. Manchester, Liverpool, Yorkshire, Cardiff. You use the same phrases because the RAF gives you a template, and also because there are only so many ways to tell a woman her son is dead. You write that he died bravely. You write that he died quickly. You write that he was well liked by the whole squadron, which is sometimes true and sometimes the kindest lie you will ever tell. You don't write that he was on fire. You don't write that the medics couldn't identify him from his dog tags because there was nothing left to tag. You don't write any of that. You fold the letter, you seal the envelope, and you go to bed for 4 hours. The RAF's own statisticians, in a moment of spectacular bureaucratic honesty, calculate that a new pilot in August 1940 has a life expectancy of roughly 4 weeks. 4 weeks. The math is not complicated. Every time you leave the ground, you're flipping a coin. You've been flipping it for 2 months. At some point, the coin lands wrong. Everyone knows it. Nobody says it. You lead the scramble anyway. Every single time you lead it anyway. Level 5, the wing commander. You're 21. You command 3 squadrons now, over 30 aircraft, over 30 pilots. And here is the cruel joke of military promotion. You don't fly every mission anymore. You sit in the operations room. It is a large room with a giant map on a table. WAF officers, Women's Auxiliary Air Force, most of them younger than you, stand around the table with long rakes, moving wooden blocks across the map. Each block represents a squadron. Each squadron is a dozen men you know by their first names, their bad jokes, their preferred brand of cigarettes. You watch the blocks move. You pick up the phone. You decide which squadron goes up and which stays on the ground. You are functionally deciding who gets the coin flip today and who gets to wait. You haven't slept more than 4 hours a night in 3 weeks. You've started smoking 40 cigarettes a day, not because you enjoy it, but because it gives your hands something to do that isn't shaking visibly in front of your staff. When someone offers you tea, you take it with both hands because one hand isn't steady enough to hold the cup. There are pilots under your command who are 17. Technically, they shouldn't be flying combat missions. Nobody checks anymore. There isn't time. Level 6, Air Chief Marshal. You are the machine now. You report directly to Churchill. You don't fight the war anymore, you manage it. Every morning you receive a document with numbers on it. Pilots lost, aircraft destroyed, airfields damaged, fuel reserves. The numbers are honest in the way that only documents read by no one's mother can afford to be. In 1 week in August, the RAF loses 400 pilots. Not aircraft, pilots, men, some of them boys. The replacement pipeline cannot keep up. You are running out of people faster than you are running out of planes, which is a sentence that should not be possible but is currently true. You make the decision, the one history will remember, to pull the squadrons north and bait the Luftwaffe into shifting their targets from airfields to London. It's a gamble. If it works, you save fighter command. If it doesn't, you've just handed them the capital. It works. On September 15th, what they'll later call Battle of Britain Day, the Luftwaffe throws everything at London and loses 60 aircraft in a single day. Hitler postpones Operation Sea Lion. The invasion is cancelled. Britain survives. History calls you a genius. History calls you a hero. You look at the casualty list, 544 pilots dead, and realize you are neither. You are just the man who signed the paperwork and got lucky in the right direction. The difference between a hero and a catastrophic failure, in your experience, is about 30 aircraft on one Tuesday afternoon in September. You light another cigarette. You don't feel like a hero. You feel like a man who owes 544 people a debt he cannot pay. Level 7. The veteran. The war ends. They send you home. You're 23 years old, and when you look in the mirror, you don't recognize the face looking back at you. Not because it's old exactly, but because it's finished in a way that 23-year-old faces aren't supposed to be finished. Like something behind the eyes has been used up. You have a medal in a drawer. You have a wife who is patient and kind and occasionally wakes up in the night to find you sitting in the kitchen. Not doing anything, just sitting. You get a job in an office. You wear a tie. You attend meetings about things that are not life and death, which should be a relief and mostly isn't. You flinch when a car backfires. You flinch when a shadow passes over the sun too quickly. You flinch when the kettle whistles. Not always, just sometimes. Just on the days when the sky is a particular shade of blue that takes you somewhere you don't want to go. Nobody asks about the summer of 1940. People know it happened. They don't want the details, which is fine. You don't want to give them. What you know and what you can never fully explain is this. The RAF didn't just make you a pilot. It took everything you were at 18. The boy eating breakfast in Kent when the letter came. The boy whose mother put the kettle on and processed it into something else. A statistic. A block on a map. A name on a list that someone read once and filed away. You're alive. That's more than 544 of your friends can say. On most days, that feels like enough. On the days when the sky is that particular shade of blue, it doesn't. So that's your life as an RAF pilot in the Battle of Britain. You went in as a teenager who couldn't finish his breakfast, and you came out as a man who can't hear a kettle without flinching. The RAF called you the few. Churchill gave you a speech. History gave you a chapter. Nobody gave you a decent night's sleep. If you made it this far, you basically survived the Battle of Britain from your couch, which, let's be honest, is exactly the right way to experience it. So if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the Foxhole. Someone else made a horrible decision in a different century, and we're covering it next. See you there.